Mr. Producer from Brothers Comics. Hey, look at my shirt. It's green, y'all. I'm green with envy. We're gonna review the first two episodes of She-Hulk on Disney Plus. Got the crew tonight, man. It's Brother Beavis. What's happening, bro?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
And we got Big Hutch, the non-watcher here, but also the
Don't call
collector
me
of
you,
more
Atu.
She-Hulk books. The collector of more She-Hulk books than any of us put
Wait,
together.
wait a minute. I don't think wait a minute. I might have had
That's
one or
that.
two.
Come on.
I
Nope.
didn't
Nope.
have no
Nope. Nope.
She-Hulk books.
I'm calling Cap, as the kids say. That's Cap.
I ain't
You
had no
had
She-Hulk
books.
that I
Come
can
on, bro.
remember.
Yeah, you had more than me, which would have been
I might have
zero.
had two
Brother
because
Beavis, you had
Bird
the
drew it
She-Hulk.
for maybe for a second or something.
Unless there,
Genshin.
unless there was a crossover with something else I collected, I don't believe that I have any She-Hulk books. But
Okay,
if it was a crossover, I almost certainly bought it.
So She-Hulk got a big run there, in the Marvel thing when she got on the Fantastic Four, and then she gets a solo book, which I think was also drawn by John Byrne. So they put a legitimate artist / writer on the book to give her this push. So when they announced that this show is being made, it's kind of been this weird bit. And you guys aren't on social media. The announcement of Tatiana Maslany, who is what, 4'10", 95 pounds, soaking wet, maybe. Like it was like, what in the world? Why didn't you cast, some like
China?
bowed up,
She's dead.
some bowed up actress, that probably can't act, but at least would look the role, kind of in a Lou Ferrigno kind of, transformation type situation. But that's not what they did. They went with this kind of this CGI version. And then before it came out, Brother Beavis, people were just killing the CGI about how it looked. I pay attention to that stuff, but I don't. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
So I didn't get too worked up about the pre stuff. Watching it now, it's definitely looks like Shrek more often than not. Definitely has a Shrek-esque character, but I was like kind of trying to pay attention to it today, and there was one scene where they had like a close up, and there's actually a lot of detail in the rendering of her face. But I think the problem is you put her next to Mark Ruffalo, who at this point his Hulk has like the beard and the wrinkles, and he has a lot of character to his face, whereas she's got a very smooth face. And so she always comes out looking undercooked, and he always looks great. So it's rough.
Yeah, it is.
And it doesn't always feel like people are looking at the right spot. I don't think they've mastered that part of it yet, which seems like that shouldn't be a budget constraint. But
no, I think it's probably I don't know. So when you get to the pilot episode here, there's a lot of like kind of reveals that, non-comic book readers might not catch. But, the opening scene of that, Bruce and his cousin Jennifer are driving down the road, and there's a ship that was, I think it's, definitely leading to a Planet Hulk type situation, especially after episode 2 today. They crash, and his blood gets into her blood, and she winds up being able to turn into the Hulk, her She-Hulk, and then she's able to control it like with her emotions. And we really get a whole episode of a training montage like Rocky, about how she's supposed to be a Hulk, and her differences from being like a woman as opposed to being a man. And there's some great points made in this particular bit about that. But that's really what we got, Hutch. Or it was just it's a training montage. This is how you throw rocks. This is how you fight. And them fighting against one another. And it was probably unnecessarily jokey. And like, I know how people kind of get weird about the Marvel joke sometimes, but it was probably unnecessary in certain parts. What do you think, Brother Beavis?
Yeah,
it was the tone.
It was odd, because this is another show that isn't strictly made for us, and so there's a lot of the jokiness, and then the single girl power, and then just what it's like to be a woman in a man's world, all kind of woven together. And so it was odd. The whole Captain America bit was like,
Yes.
come on, does this have to be as featured as it
Yeah.
is? So yeah, the larger problem I had with it was for the first episode, it was very much a Hulk. It was, to me, it was more of a Hulk show featuring his wacky cousin.
Right.
You know, it was almost like too much of him in order to start her
Right.
series. That was
Yeah.
like the main thing that hit me in this first one.
Well, and but I do like the idea that, okay, so she can control this like immediately. It would give that the
Yeah.
contrast to his beginnings as being the Hulk. Like, you know, she's completely under control. She can turn whenever she wants to. Like, it's just completely under her control because she's in better control of her emotions than Bruce was when he first became the Hulk. So I did like that contrast. But right, yes, it was just a training montage, you know. And and to me, that was probably the one of the two. Like, that was the episode. I was just like, you know, when you're outside and you have a character that's green against a blue background, like, it does look fake. Like, it looks really, really fake. And I don't know if that's CGI or budget, or, you know, I'm not really sure. You know, I saw some behind the scenes thing, and they're running that Obi-Wan, like how Obi-Wan got made thing on Disney Plus here in a couple of weeks. But you know how they used to do everything on green screens and just put the backgrounds in there and everything was computer generated. But now they've gotten these things where they're like a let's call it a panoramic of something that was like a green screen, but it's an actual screen. Like, we took this picture outside of the Mojave Desert in a panoramic type thing, and they'll use that as the background against it, as opposed to just generating it computer wise. And a lot of Obi-Wan was filmed that way. You know, we went to the location and filmed the stuff that we were going to need, and then just use that as a layer on the background. And so that's what this feels like. You're putting a green character on the back of a real background, and it makes it look kind of goofy and weird. So yeah, it's different. I couldn't be, you know, but again, if you listen to the previous podcast, we talked about Buck Rogers, 1980 something. Biggie, my nigga. Like, you, some people need to shut the fuck up. It could be so much worse. Like, I mean, think about the original Hulk television show.
Yeah.
Strip some pants. Like, come on. Like, you judging on the curve here.
Well,
So,
I think it is important to have, like, you know, to have her different. Like, she doesn't go through the same rage, she doesn't go through the same transformation, she doesn't have the same feeling about being a hero, she doesn't have the self-loathing, the personality conflict. So it is important to make her as distinct as possible from him, so that this isn't just you know, a reskinned Hulk with a it literally
yeah.
Hulk
I agree. Yes. I mean, and again, I've said before we started this, there's be no Tatiana Maslany slander on this podcast. You know, I mean, her stuff as Jennifer Walters, she's just so fucking likable. You know, I mean, it's just, that's basically what it is. She is, you know, and then when she transforms, you know, you can still see that person is in there. And then when they do this making of, I'm kind of like curious as to how this happened, but you know, it's fun. But yeah, so episode 1 ends with a freaking tag about Captain America's virginity. You know, Hutch, if you didn't know, Cap did get that ass back in the day. He didn't go on ice without, you know, getting his dick wet. If you needed it.
It has not been identified, but yeah.
Yeah.
The who is still in question.
I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a bit in Civil War, right? The Civil War or Winter Soldier where he's like that, you know, where he kissed Natasha. He's like, you're not the first person I've kissed since 40 whatever. So at some point in time when he came out of the ice, before all this shit went down, you know, there had to be some shield agent that was like, you know, hey, trying to fuck. Okay.
Well,
but anyway.
he almost got like he got hit on by
the Wasp.
Loris Tyrell. So what's Marjorie Tyrell?
Oh yeah.
The first Avenger.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You left off. Did you skip the Titania piece?
I'm getting there.
All right.
I'm getting there. Yeah. So
all right.
At the end of episode 1 is like we get a court scene and she's been trying this case and we get Titania. She comes in, bursts into the courtroom, in an outfit that I would say that is
not
unfortunate.
Comic book accurate.
Yeah, not comic book accurate. Yes, for sure. That is putting it. She is not all blowed up like Titania is in the comic books as well in all areas. But you know, peeling ahead, like she is a social like influencer villain essentially. So tied completely, yeah, tied completely into modern kind of world here. And then she tries to attack people in the courtroom. She-Hulk hulks up, and beats her ass, and then everybody's like, "Oh, who the hell is She-Hulk?" And then, that's the end of episode one.
At this point, I was thinking, well, they didn't spend the budget on the fighting choreography.
Yeah. Was it like one like kick?
She had this like clown flying kick, and then got knocked the fuck out. So
yeah,
that was the fight.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this before. Like, I think there is another villain coming here soon, but who knows? All right, so that's episode one. Yeah, and it was like, the Steve Rogers fuck, and then credits. Yeah. That was great. Yeah. All right, so episode two, which premiered, I guess today, if we're on the recording schedule. Yeah, episode two. So where do you go from here? So, hey, she gets fired from her job for hulking up, from her law firm. That wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work for them. Like, hey, you did a great job. There's a great bit in there.
That was like a government job because she worked for the DA's office,
DA,
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She should wrongful terminate, right? Wrongful termination suit right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Take the city for whatever they got.
Got it. Yeah, and then there's a great bit in there where she gets fired, like when the dude comes over, because as the Hulk, she can't get drunk. And so she's just pounding drinks with her paralegal friend. And then he's like, yeah, I need to talk to you as Jennifer. He's like, oh, okay. And then she's fucking hammered. She's like falling off the chair, hammered when she gets fired. And, so after that, she's been, blackballed, greenballed. I don't know.
Red ball.
She can't get a job anywhere because of what happened. People don't want to hire the She-Hulk as a distraction. And then ultimately the company that she was, or the people that she was doing the trial with when she got fired, want to hire her for their special division of lawyering for villains. Yeah, well, no, for villains. They're gonna hire them for villains. There's also a bit where she goes and sees her family. That they like, this isn't the first time we've had to deal with a Hulk in this family, or a Hulk doing something messed up. Is the father the dude from her father? Is I couldn't fully see it. Is that what was that damn show? Oh my god, our mom loved this show. Was it Perfect Strangers? There's the Russian dude, but then there was his cousin.
My Lord.
That's a possibility.
I'm pretty sure that's him. Like, I couldn't remember Balky, and then whatever. Yeah, his Balk was the cousin.
Balky,
that was the cousin. Yeah.
Of course. And then there's
the straight man for that particular show.
Straight. Yeah.
God, our mother loved that show. And like, yeah, so they go see that, and she has whatever relationship with her dad, which seems to be okay. But she gets hired for this thing, and then the dude's like, yeah,
you called
I need you to be the I did.
Yep.
You talk about my collection of rum. Remembering that is worse.
There goes a child's birthday.
Right. Yeah, there goes a good memory somewhere. Run out of gas tomorrow because I forgot to fill the tank up. So yeah, they so yeah, he's like, come on, Hutch. So it's like, yeah, I need you to be She-Hulk like all the time. Like, what? She's like confused by this. She's like, no, if you're not She-Hulk and you ain't getting this job, then you have to be She-Hulk all the time. So she has to transform into She-Hulk at the job. And she didn't know that when she accepted the job. She didn't know. She didn't know that was the case when she took the job.
For her looks.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Discrimination.
Yeah, so she gets a nice corner office in. This is in Los Angeles. I was watching this with Walma. She was just like, what is that? Like, I thought it was New York. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's not New York.
It's California. It's her base.
Yeah, and which is kind of weird because they haven't established California as a place where there would be supervillains.
Well, she drove back from Mexico, so
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm just saying, like, they haven't established anything really essentially out of the New York metropolitan area.
Old boy
So
said it best. Phase 4 is a bit of mess in 5.
yeah.
And
Well, actually, there's a bit in there, and I don't know if you saw it online. When she's looking for a new job, there's a little like kind of a freeze frame on a website there. The first freeze frame of the articles there, like other articles, man with claw fights in local bar. So firmly establishing Wolverine there. And I think the next one was something. Yeah. And then the next one was like, about like a robot monster in the bottom of the ocean or something like that, which obviously establishes the stuff from the Eternals. So like, I mean, it's all kind of sort of tying together here. But before she takes that job, or when she does go for that job, they're like, our first client is Emil Blonsky, the Abomination. And, he wants you to represent him. And she's like, I can't do that. It's a conflict of interest. He tried to kill my cousin, tried to kill my cousin.
Say words,
like,
son.
I can't do it. Yeah, exactly. And so she's like, I can't do that. He's like, well, you don't do this, you ain't got no job. And she's like, oh shit, guess I gotta go. So she goes to meet him. Yeah, it gets referenced. And what was do we know the facility that would have been, Brother Beavis? Like, I'm like,
oh, so that was the Department of Damage Control that has a DODC logo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So she goes and sees him, and he's a reformed man. I'ma stay. I'm not doing those things anymore. I got like
this is great.
Yeah, I got prison. Yeah, Tim Roth is great in this bit. Like he's got, I got prison pen pals. Like,
my 7 friends.
Yeah, yeah, but he's so good in this. And she's like, you know what? Oh, okay. He gives the story of like, I got screwed over, man. The government, gave me that super soldier serum and turned me into this freaking monster, and I was working for them. So,
he's right.
Yeah, it's like that's my defense. So okay. So she calls Bruce, and he's like, yeah, you should take the case, if that's what you need to do, whatever, He's like, he's written me a letter too, that he's changed
with a haiku.
Yeah, with a haiku, yeah. And she's like, all right. And he's like, so what are you doing? He's like, I'm taking care of something. And he's on like this ship that it shoots out into space. I mean, again, it's kind of weird though, because because it seems like they're giving us Planet Hulk, but they kind of already gave us Planet Hulk and Ragnarok. Like they kind of gave it to us already. So unless he's going to come back as uncontrollable Hulk that needs to get put down, and I just don't think that's where they're going with that character.
Planet Hulk is not a let's go have wacky fun time with the Games Master on Planet Zakar.
No, not at all. So it's kind of weird that that's kind of where they are going, but it definitely seems like that's what it is. So she takes the case, like, all right, we're about to get this, taken care of, and then the boss of the law firm. And it's like, yeah, so okay, that's great. You might want to turn the news on. It's like, wait, what? It's like, oh yeah, the Abomination was caught fighting in some secret, fight club or whatever. Yeah, and what was the scene from what's that?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, yeah. And it's like she's like, oh, shit. And then that's the end of episode 2. I mean, very light, very Hawkeye-esque in terms of the tone, but probably not. I mean, yeah, it's very Hawkeye-esque in terms of the tone, but fits completely with what the character is. She breaks the third wall when she talks to the camera, fourth wall, and which happens in the comic book, right, Hutch?
Yeah.
Because I would only know that because you had those comic books.
Well, I don't see the quit slipping that in there. She was in the Fantastic Four,
but she didn't break the wall then.
She didn't break the wall then.
That's a solo book thing.
Maybe I had 1 or 2 of them books, but I don't say I had. Oh, you had a whole collection of them. Don't put that on me. I'll take Rom.
Dazzler also, sir. And Dazzler. And also Dazzler.
Fuck you. I had Dazzler too.
And that's it. I mean, those are the first 2 episodes. Again, I have no problem with this. Like, I have no issue with it. I mean, again, could the CGI be?
I have no
What could
issue.
CGI be better? Okay, great, whatever. But this fits the character. Like, I know people, currently, I think, at least in the Avengers that we read probably a year or two ago, she was Savage Hulk. Like, she couldn't control herself or whatever. But the Hulk She-Hulk that we know from all the comic books Hutch had, she was well within her, she was well within her faculty. She knew, whatever. And she was She-Hulk all the time. She never changed into Jennifer Walters at a point. I don't know if she couldn't or she just made the decision that she was going to be She-Hulk all the time, but that's where it was.
But the She-Hulk is a C minus D plus Marvel character. Whatever happens. I mean, what's it matter?
I mean, when I was over at your guys' house reading all Hutch's She-Hulk books, it seemed like she was just more comfortable with the dual identity.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, very much so. Yes, I agree on all points. And there was a bit in there too about, where they were calling her She-Hulk, how she got the name. She's like, I'm just some derivative of the Hulk. And the lady is like, the Hulk's a terrible name too. What are you worried about it? Hulk, She-Hulk, Hulk girl, whatever. Like that's a terrible name too. So I mean, like, the fact that it can make fun of itself. And again, I know I'm freaking on her dick or whatever, but that's Tatiana Maslany. Like, she can live in that world of playing that particular character like all day. Like, that's just, that's the actress that she is. So, but yeah, I'm thumbs up on it. Am I waking up at 3 a.m. to go watch it like I did with, Winter Soldier and all that shit before it gets spoiled? No, not at all. No, I could care less. Like, I didn't watch it today until 6, 7 o'clock. Like, I'm perfectly okay with that. But beyond that, what's going to happen? Wrecking Crew, Titania. I mean,
Frogman.
Are we really? Yeah, we're looking for a big comic book fight battle here that's going to set the stage for something? Nope.
We're sure the Daredevil's going to be in there, right?
Daredevil's definitely going to make it.
So
I mean, the show is She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Right. So,
the tag.
I mean, that's pretty much playing everything out.
And it would it surprise me if some of our other Netflix street level heroes make an appearance in this, which would only be primarily Jessica Jones, which I don't think they recast, and Luke Cage, which I think they were pretty happy, kind of, sort of, with, maybe, possibly.
I thought
Jessica Jones would make a lot of sense. Luke, so they originally, I think Mike Coulter originally dropped out because he was like, if you're going to recast Iron Fist, you should just recast both because otherwise it's going to be weird. But I think part of that too is he's had that show Evil, right, or whatever.
Yeah, he's on Evil.
Yeah, like a procedural. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got stuff.
He's working.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it's a perfect opportunity for them to introduce some of those level. If you're going to bring Daredevil in, I know he's getting his own freaking 26 episode show or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I understand that, but
2030, when was that coming out?
I think fairly soon at this point. But
they better be filming it now.
So, but yeah, like, to me, thumbs up on the She-Hulk. I have no problems with it. I don't know what people was looking for, and this is an internet thing too, brother. People like with this faux outrage that they're mad that the She-Hulk is not what they expected. Like, anybody give a damn about the She-Hulk before? Like, come on, man, y'all are being ridiculous.
Right. At this point, all the people they're bringing out, you can't have too much expectations on any of these characters because these characters, their comic book runs were, at best, maybe 2 or 3 years at best. These characters don't have enough established anything to be getting to catching feelings about them.
It feels like, and I think Brother Beavers and I talked about this on a different podcast, it feels like we're building up a storage of heroes for when we get to Secret Wars, that we can have a storage of heroes to deal with. Yes, we had a whole bunch of them in Infinity War and Endgame, like we did, but I think they're looking for more in that regard.
Well, they also got to get enough people so that they don't have to pay people billions of dollars to play the role anymore. It's like, oh, we'll just put War Machine on the team.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Ironheart is up next, then Black Panther. You know, like there's our new Iron person. You know, yeah, like I get that.
Diversity cover. It covers diversity.
Yeah.
Right. It covers this, but no one should give that much.
Like
or whatever. Oh, to get hurt about. Oh, they don't. She-Hulk should be better than this, or
She-Hulk was my favorite character. Y'all ruining She-Hulk. Shut the hell up. Nobody give a damn about She-Hulk.
Right.
Come on, man.
Officially, I care more about the boy than some of these characters.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. So that's it, y'all. So that's our She-Hulk recap. Again, we'll come back to it. We're not doing weekly episodes on this one. We'll just kind of catch up to it when we can. It's not because it's not. I mean, it's not.
I hear you. Yeah, you know my
stand. It's not tied into anything that we're freaking, overall like, oh shit. And then when they did that, it's just a procedural at this point. It's a show that's on every week that has characters that we are known and familiar with. That's pretty much it. So. But all right, y'all. Again, find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Rate, review, subscribe. We'll see y'all a couple of weeks. All right. I'm the producer. I'm signing off. Peace. Brother Beavis, sign off.
Later. See you next time.